Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am so excited to share this speed paint with you guys today. I feel like I have been working on this video and on this painting forever. Um, this painting not only took a really long time to paint, like probably one of the longest painting sessions I have ever experienced since starting to sell my work. It also took me a long time before I was even able to post it because I had to wait for the person to receive it in the mail. So what's really special about this painting is it actually made me kind of an international artist. And that's kind of a joke, but it's kind of not. So the person who commissioned this painting is an old friend that I recently reconnected with. And he is actually a Marine who is stationed in Okinawa, Japan. And so whenever he reached out to me and he told me about this painting, I knew that meant I was going to have to ship it overseas. And if you have never shipped anything overseas, let me just tell you, it is an experience. There are many different prices on the internet, and the post office, well, sometimes it has different prices than what you see on the internet, which can be terrifying if you're trying to make sure you know how much it's going to cost. But it was also really cool knowing that my painting was going to travel farther than I probably ever will. Hopefully not, but probably. So when he reached out and told me about this painting, he said that he had a scripture that he thought would look great on top of a painting. And I firmly believe that God gives us the knowledge of scripture, not just for ourselves, but for other people. So when he shared the scripture that he wanted with me, I was not surprised that it was starting to fit with the theme of my life, which is worry. The scripture he ended up choosing is Matthew 6:34, and it reads, "Therefore don't worry about tomorrow, because tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble on its own." And when he read that to me, I was like, oh my goodness. This scripture is going to convict me. I can feel it already doing so, because I am a naturally pretty anxious person, and there was a lot about this particular painting that made me anxious. And so whenever we finally got to video chat and we decided that we would go with this sunset beach theme, because that was really what encapsulated what he was wanting. I got really nervous because I don't use these colors very often. I use a lot of blue and green and earthy tones, and these colors are very vibrant and very loud, and they are beautiful, but I don't work in warm colors very often. So I initially was like, oh, this is going to challenge me, not only artistically, but spiritually as well. So, and boy, was I right. When I sat down to start this painting, I looked at the canvas for a long time, and I didn't even know where to start. I couldn't figure out the best place to splash down the first drop of color. Usually I just kind of am like, okay, I think I'll start here, and I just pick a spot and I just go with it. Or I pick a spot that's going to outline a much lighter spot, and I just go for it. But I could not, for some reason, even picture the gradation of a sunset, not even a fake sunset. So initially, I have a lot of footage that's not in this video where my paintbrush is kind of propped on the paper and I'm just like, okay, where do I start? What do I do? How do I make this look like a sunset? And I had no reference pictures for exactly what I was doing, because he sent me pictures of a beach that kind of inspired this painting, but it wasn't as vibrant as we had talked about. We had talked about a really vibrant sunset wash in the background, and I'd even said I might do more than just a wash, I might do the water too, and he loved that idea. So I had to kind of use my imagination, and I know I'm an artist and that should be easy, but it's hard sometimes whenever it's something you're so unfamiliar with. I love sunsets. I'm a photographer. I think lighting right before sunset, an hour before sunset, is perfect. But it's very rare that I actually get a moment to sit and look at a sunset and watch the colors unfold in the sky. And this painting kind of inspired me to do that. I actually started trying to go outside near and around sunset and, as best I could, see what it looked like, see what the sky looked like, see how the colors melted into each other, how the clouds looked, because there were supposed to be clouds in this picture, but they disappeared. And so it was a really cool experience because I got to kind of take just a moment and really appreciate all the beautiful things that God has created in this world for us. But even beyond being artistically kind of challenging, especially the water that I'm about to work on, that the water was so challenging. This painting was also challenging spiritually. I was already feeling a little anxious when I started this painting, and when I tell you my worry and anxiety got worse in the course of painting this, sending it off, and editing this video, I am not joking. I had, for some reason, the first anxiety attack that I've had in a year. I think a week after I sent off the painting, 2 weeks after maybe. And it was so bad that it continued until the next day, and then I was a mess at work. I ended up having to go home because I couldn't focus enough to do my job. And throughout this whole process, my mind would always go back to this scripture, and my mind would always go back to the fact that I knew going into this, as soon as I read that scripture about worry, that it was going to be something I was challenged on, because that is what God does sometimes. And so I would just sit and I would remember this scripture and I would kind of pray on it and meditate on it. And I don't know, guys, I was just so anxious for so long. And it's really funny because while I was really anxious throughout this process and throughout the past month or so, God has been so faithful. And I am the type of person that, my mind sometimes automatically goes to the worst case scenario. And God just kept showing up and showing me, you don't need to do that. You need to just trust me. And so I would sit and I would say, okay, God, I trust you. I trust you. I'm just going to trust you. I'm just going to believe that this is going to be what you've intended it to be. And I'm not going to worry about it anymore. And that would work for a day, for a couple of hours. But the problem was that I wasn't truly giving all of these things that were bothering me to God. I was holding on because I just could not imagine that all of the good things that have kind of started falling into place for me were actually happening to me. And I'm still in that mind state. Like, I'm still trying to slowly but surely get out of this bad things will always happen to me mentality, because I went through a traumatic time where that was true, but I'm not that person anymore, and I'm not in that time anymore. And so, as I was learning these lessons about worry and about trust, God just kept revealing things to me about the situations that I was in. He kept reassuring me in really unique ways. Even today, as I'm recording this, some stuff happened today that put my heart at major ease. And I am so grateful for that, because we have a God who sees our worry and who hears us whenever we cry out and we say, I need you to help me trust you, because I'm failing here. And I had moments over the course of this month when I was like, God, just send somebody to reach out to me, send somebody to validate that I am not going to fail and that I'm going to be okay. And nobody reached out. Like, nobody called to check on me that didn't already know the situations I was going through. Nobody said, hey, are you doing okay today? None of that happened, but it didn't matter, because God ended up validating me, and God ended up reaching out to me personally and just reminding me that I don't need reassurance from other people. All I need is the knowledge that I have a Father in heaven who is working all things together for my good. And the problem with seeing that He's working all things together for our good is that sometimes it takes a really long time. And just like with this painting, like, it takes a lot of preparation and it takes a lot of change. And so today, when I was kind of going throughout my day, I learned about something that could potentially be telling of God preparing me for something that I didn't think was ever going to happen, to be quite honest. And I had an immediate negative reaction to it. I wasn't like, oh my gosh, God, you shouldn't have done that. But I just I had a moment where I was like, I don't think I deserve all of the preparation that went into what could potentially be. And God just kind of kept reminding me, you don't need to worry. You don't need to worry about tomorrow. You don't need to worry about what happens in the future, because I am holding your future in my hands. I know where it's going. I know what it's doing. I am not worried about it because I've seen where you're going. And even though I still struggle, and I probably will struggle for a while with giving everything to God and trusting Him, I just feel really at peace now. And I know that in my last couple of videos I've talked about kind of the same topics, but God has really been teaching me about patience and trust and worrying lately, and He's been preparing me for whatever my future holds, whether it is easy breezy or something I can't even imagine going through. And so that's kind of what's been on my mind and my heart, and this painting just kind of validated a lot of that for me, and I had to confront a lot of my own personal problems with worry and doubt. And it's so funny because the guy who commissioned this painting, he made a comment when I asked him why he chose this particular scripture, that it just seemed like such good advice. Like, why do we need to worry about tomorrow? Let's worry about today, because today's enough. And it's just really cool seeing God use things that other people have envisioned to kind of help me with my life, and hopefully help somebody else who hears this and is like, I struggle a lot with worry. I also had to use stamps for the first time in this painting, and that was an experience. Stamping is a lot harder than people make it out to be. But if you like this video and want to see more, make sure to like and subscribe and do all of that good stuff. If you are looking to get a painting commissioned, please reach out to me, because I would love to have more commissions. And you'll also get an awesome video like this. So, see you guys later.